We are starting in on a drainage project today. This yard has a little bit of erosion going on, but it also has some saturated soil that's just stayed wet for years. When I first came here about 2 years ago, I talked with her and we went over a couple of the issues in the yard, and we kind of came up with a tentative plan. And I said, let's just wait and see if these issues persist, and if they do, at that point we'll go ahead and adjust them. Well, 2 years later, they persisted, and here we are putting into place a course correction that we talked about years ago. So the video doesn't show it exactly right, but this is a gentle slope all the way down to the back of her house, which is a slab. And so what's happening is all this moisture is just slowly collecting and then pools up against the house, or pushes the moisture up against the slab, and she has a minor moisture issue on the inside of the house. In heavy rains, it also puddles pretty heavily in here. So this is a multi-part solution where we're going to be putting in a French drain that runs the whole extent of this backyard right here. And as that moisture migrates through the soil down this slope, it'll get trapped in our French drain and it'll actually run on out that direction, and I'll show you where it's going in just a minute. But we're also going to have a surface drain right in this low area here, because in heavy rains, this turns into a puddle right here. So all the surface rain we're going to be able to just kind of grab and take off. Additionally, you can see there's a downspout here, and then that's Alex up there. He's pulling some stuff out, but there's a downspout up there as well. So we're actually going to take these downspouts and we're going to go to the front yard with them. So you can kind of see French drain, surface drain, another downspout out here. So we're actually running the French drain pipe, and they're going to come to here, and they're still going to be in their own pipe. And then we're going to tie in this downspout once it gets to this point. This downspout and that downspout are literally just going to go in their own pipe all the way out. The reason I'm saying that is important is because we're getting ready to build a wall right here as well. And we never connect our moisture issues or our downspouts into the drainage system behind the wall, because that could end up overrunning the drain system back there and actually rendering it useless for what it's doing, which is grabbing moisture as it's coming through the soil and getting it out of the foundation of the wall so it doesn't compromise that. When we get to this point, all three systems I just talked about, I know it's kind of confusing, all three systems I just talked about, so our French drain, our surface drain, and our downspout, and this downspout, are all going to come into the same place, because that's kind of the finale of all three of those systems, and they're going to come across here and go out there. So we're going to have a wall, all of our drain systems. We're ripping out all the plants across the front. She was just kind of done with them, so that was just an add-on to what we're doing here. We're doing a little bit of cleaning up behind the garage as well. And then kind of the final piece to this whole project is we're just going to take some timbers and outline this driveway right here, so that when she pulls in, she's able to pull in on a nice 57 driveway and kind of keep her feet dry, keep her tires clean. And then we'll add a little extension to this walkway right here. So like I mentioned, 2 years ago, we talked about all these things, and we just were watching them to see how bad they got. And, they definitely didn't get horrible, but we did know that they were not getting better. So that's why we're here implementing this plan beginning of 2021. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll show you on the flip side. Ooh, the wind is whipping around out here as we finish up the final bits of this project right now. We've got Hercules fence, you can see him behind me right here. We had to take out a section of fence because it had all kinds of twigs and trees and all kinds of stuff just growing up in the chain link fence. So that's getting replaced right now. We're adding a little bit of slate for a walkway, and then we just have to put down a little bit of seed. You're actually probably thinking, hey, why are you putting seed down? The ground's frozen. Well, there's rye grass, a contractor blend that has annual and perennial rye with a little bit of fescue. Believe it or not, it takes a little bit longer this time of year, but believe it or not, it'll actually germinate and get some coverage on this yard in order to get rid of some of that mud and coverage. So if you remember here, this was just nothing but grass. And this grass went all the way up to the front of the house there. So we came in here, graded, leveled, compacted this area right in here. We put some 4x6s in here. So these are all 4x6, most of them by 10 or 12. in here as our border. So those are sunken down in the ground. And then we put down fabric and packed in 57 in here. We also built a wall right here because this slope that was in here, it was constantly just washing the dirt away from the house. So we built a wall in here, and this has a French drain back behind it so that any moisture that's in the ground, and this is a slab house, so any moisture that's in the ground has an opportunity to escape and get out, so it doesn't end up going back into our house or having any drainage issues in there. So nice little wall here. And then the fun part was the drainage. So we took all these downspouts on the house. This side of the house, the downspouts run through here underneath the driveway and come out right near that fire hydrant. And then in the back, we installed a French drain in here. So this yard, the video doesn't show it super well, but has a nice steady fall right up to the back of her house. And like I mentioned before, this is a slab. So a lot of moisture is just going back there and just sitting up against the house. So we put a French drain in here. So any of that moisture as it's migrating through, it has an opportunity to get into our French drain. And then that French drain comes through here, connects in, goes out, and follows our path out to there as well. And then kind of the final piece to that drainage was the downspouts on the far side of the house over here. We connected them, and you can kind of see where our trench ran right there, and took those out to the street just to make sure that that is not collecting on the side of the house, because it was just literally, this water was just coming out, puddling right there. Same with this downspout right there. It's just coming right out of the downspout and just puddling in this area. It was a nightmare. So now that all that water is going out and away, it'll fix a lot of her drainage issues. Evan is just wrapping up the last little bit. So her concrete walkway stops right here. The gravel pad starts right there. So we're just making it so she can walk between these two on dry feet, or have dry feet while she's walking in between. So Evan's just taking some chunks of slate and just breaking them up and lining them up so that they, fit in there and she's able to walk across. World of a difference in being able to use this property now. Before, walking through the property, sinking to your ankles, no matter what time of year it was, whether it was dry or not, just because the moisture was trapped in the ground. So now that it has an opportunity to get all that moisture off her property, out into the street, she also has a place to park, and she has a wall stopping any erosion. Thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate you following along. I'll see you on the next one.